Hi, Jasmine. Once again, I seem to be a couple of tags behind, so I'm going to try to catch up. Question one. Sorry, I'm eating pretzels. Question one. Are there values from your childhood that you were brought up with, or something like that, that you still carry today, or something? I'm going to go with that you shouldn't judge people according to their appearances, you should judge them on their behavior. Um, Tell a story from one of your travels or something like that. Um, I remember once we were on a camping trip. So many things come to my mind once I start thinking. I was going to talk about one time when there's so many things. It was just my mom, dad, my I'm the youngest of six, so the first four kids were all born in the 1950s, and then my sister Angela and I came along in the mid 60s. So there was a big gap between the first four kids and the last two kids. So this one camping trip, it was just my parents and my sister Angela and myself, because the older four kids were all older and working or moved out of the house by then. Um, so it was just the four of us, mom, dad, Angela, and I. And we went to sleep, and there was a big thunderstorm coming. And at some time in the night, we were woken up by the ranger who was going around the campground telling us that a tornado was coming. So we had to get up, get dressed, and go to the ranger station, I believe, and into the basement until it was safe. Um, I remember that one. But then, as I'm remembering, so many other stories come to mind. When I was a little kid, really little, and the older four kids were teenagers, and they were still coming on the camping trips. There are so many things that happened. We always said if ever a bear came into the campground, and I remember the bears would come into the campground and the rangers would go around and give everybody the a bear warning, and you were supposed to get into your cars, make sure you didn't have any food out or anything like that. We always said the first thing we put in the car was our Yorkshire Terrier, Yorkie, because he would have gone and attacked the bear. So the first thing that went in the car wasn't us or the food; it was Yorkie. Um, but there's other things like my eldest sister Pat was sleeping late in her sleeping bag in the tent. So my brother Mike and his friend John, who went with us on this camping trip, picked her up, sleeping bag and all, and threw her in the lake. She was not happy. Or there was a time when I think it was Pat and Ellen, my two sisters, were canoeing, and Pat was either getting into the canoe or getting out of the canoe. She had one foot in the canoe and one foot on the shore, and the canoe started going out, and she slowly did the splits before she sat right down into the water. Just so many stories. I could go on and on and on. Um, Another question is: are hobbies important to you? Yes, I believe hobbies are important, because we spend our lives working and doing our chores in life, that our diversions and our real passions and love need to be explored and enjoyed, to give life pleasure. We need to have more than just work in our lives. We need to have pleasure too. So, yes, hobbies are very important. Um, I have to remember the other questions in this tag. Top three things we pack or I pack wherever I'm going. Well, the top three things wherever I'm going would be my wallet, my keys, and my cell phone. That's easy. I believe the last question in this tag is there a grandparent that you don't know anything about? Not a grandparent. I know pretty much everything about the four grandparents, but there is one great grandfather that I don't know much about because is it a great grandfather or a great great grandfather? I think it might be a great great grandfather that I don't know anything about because he ran off and disappeared and nobody knows what happened to him. So, so the answer to the question is no. I know something about all four of my grandparents. It is one of the great great grandparents, I think, that I don't know anything about. I'm very fortunate because I know a lot about my family history on both sides because there were people very interested in cataloging our genealogy in my family. One of those people was my father. He did a lot of work on that in his life, and another person who did that was his mother and her mother. And my dad also uh, looked into my mom's side of the family, but there's people on her side of the family who are doing it too. So I'm fortunate in that way. Um, my dad's the Martin line has been traced all the way back to I don't know if it's 1600s or 1500s Germany, um, Württemberg. A lot of my family comes from um, sort of the Flemish area of Holland and Belgium and Western Germany, that area of Europe right there. That's where a lot of my ancestry comes from on both sides. So I think those are all the answers of the questions for that tag. Now I'm one tag behind.